Why Saturn's rings are disappearing faster than we thought. Saturn's rings are iconic, dazzling the cosmos with their ethereal beauty. But behind their stunning appearance, there's a quiet crisis unfolding. These magnificent rings are disappearing at an alarming rate. At first glance, the rings seem solid, an unshakable feature of the planet. But in reality, they're not as permanent as they appear. They're a temporary masterpiece in the vastness of time, a cosmic illusion slowly fading away. Scientists have known for some time that Saturn's rings are vanishing. In fact, they might only last for another 100 million years. To put that in perspective, that's a blink of an eye in the universe's grand timeline. The rings are in a race against time, and time is winning. The process of their disappearance is called ring rain. As ice and dust particles fall from the rings, they are pulled into Saturn's atmosphere. This icy rain is a steady, relentless shower that is slowly eroding the rings, piece by piece, until nothing remains. Interestingly, the rings aren't flat, like most people assume. They're three-dimensional, sculpted by tiny moonlets that orbit Saturn, creating vertical waves and gaps in the ring system. These structures are delicate, yet they've survived for millions of years, only to be undone by time. What's more fascinating is the way the rings are alive. Electrostatic forces keep fine ice particles suspended above the main rings, forming ghostly halos. These aren't visible to the naked eye, but when observed in ultraviolet light, they reveal a hidden world within Saturn's rings. The more we study Saturn's rings, the more we realize just how fragile they are. The rings, which appear solid from a distance, are actually mostly empty space. If you were to travel through them, you'd be hard-pressed to find anything solid. Yet, the empty space is what makes the rings so vulnerable to the forces of gravity and time. Cassini, NASA's legendary probe, spent years studying Saturn's rings before it plunged into the planet's atmosphere. One of its most striking discoveries was the eerie sound of the rings. As particles collided, they generated radio waves, which Cassini captured as crackling songs, echoing through space. Yet, the beauty of the rings hides a darker truth. While they may seem peaceful, they're constantly under assault. Meteorites strike the rings, leaving dark streaks known as spectral scars. These scars are remnants of meteoroids that crash into the ice, vaporizing it and leaving behind traces of dark residue. The mystery deepens when we consider how the rings are composed. Made of 90% water ice, they are like frozen remnants of a long-lost moon or a shattered comet. But despite their icy composition, they are far from invincible. If compressed, they would fit into a chunk smaller than Earth's mountains. The rings' apparent strength is deceptive, masking their true fragility. One of the most puzzling aspects of Saturn's rings is the way they interact with Saturn's powerful gravity. The planet's gravity is pulling the rings inward, while solar radiation pushes them outward. This tug-of-war is slowly pulling the rings apart, with no end in sight. It's not just Saturn's gravity at work, though. The radiation belts around the planet are also contributing to the rings' decay. The ice particles in the rings are charged by the planet's magnetic field, and when solar winds strike them, they spiral downward into the planet's atmosphere. Cassini's observations revealed another surprising detail about the rings. They may not be as ancient as we once thought. The rings are likely only around 100 million years old, which means they were formed relatively recently, long after the solar system was born. This discovery challenges our understanding of Saturn and its history. But despite their young age, the rings are already in the process of dying. The rapid loss of material is due to several factors, including the continuous ring rain, the bombardment of meteoroids, and the magnetic forces at play. These factors are contributing to a steady, irreversible decline in the ring's mass. In a strange twist, Saturn's rings are not only vanishing, but they're also creating new moons. Tiny moonlets, such as Pan and Daphnis, have formed from the debris in the rings, and they orbit within the gaps. This creates a cycle of birth and destruction, where the rings are both the creators and the destroyers of these small moons. Cassini also discovered that Saturn's rings are home to what could be called moon germs. These are ice clumps, miles wide, that are in the process of forming into new moons. However, Saturn's tidal forces are constantly ripping them apart, ensuring that they never fully develop into moons. It's a cosmic cycle of creation and destruction that plays out over and over. As Saturn's rings fade, they leave behind a mysterious legacy. The particles that make up the rings are like time capsules, preserving the history of the solar system. They contain ancient particles from the solar wind and interstellar dust, offering clues about the early days of our solar system. But the rings' loss is not just about the physical material. They also represent a loss of knowledge. As the rings disappear, so too does the information they hold about the sun and the solar system's history. It's as if the universe is erasing a chapter from the cosmic book. Saturn's rings even have their own weather system. Seasonal storms of charged particles create temporary dark bands within the rings. These storms are driven by Saturn's tilted orbit, which changes the dynamics of the rings as the planet moves through different parts of the solar system. It's like the rings are having their own seasonal changes, driven by the rhythms of the planet. Adding to the complexity, the rings have their own thin, electrified atmosphere. Oxygen ions, stripped from the ice by ultraviolet light, form this atmospheric layer. It's an unexpected feature of the rings, discovered by Cassini's plasma sensors, that adds another layer of mystery to these cosmic structures. As the rings continue to decay, Saturn itself is undergoing changes. The loss of material from the rings is affecting the planet's atmosphere. Ice particles are falling into the atmosphere, and the resulting reactions could have long-term effects on the planet's weather and climate. Saturn is slowly being reshaped by the very rings that made it so iconic. In 2017, Cassini witnessed firsthand the slow demise of the rings. As the probe plunged between Saturn and its rings, it observed the ice particles rain down with organic molecules that could fill oceans. It was as if Saturn was feasting on its own icy treasures, and those treasures were slowly vanishing. Saturn's rings aren't the only ones in the solar system. Jupiter, Uranus, and Neptune also have rings, but none are as prominent or as beautiful as Saturn's. The rings of Saturn are the supermodels of the ringed planets, and like all supermodels, they won't last forever. Despite their fleeting nature, Saturn's rings are an essential part of the planet's identity. Without them, Saturn would be a very different world. The rings reflect sunlight, helping to cool the planet and balance its temperature. As they disappear, Saturn's climate may change in unexpected ways, creating a new and unfamiliar world. Even though the rings are dying, there is hope for the future. In 300 million years, a passing comet could collide with one of Saturn's moons, creating new rings in a cosmic cycle of birth and destruction. The universe is always moving, always changing, and Saturn's rings are just another chapter in the ongoing story of the cosmos. But for now, we can only watch as the rings slowly fade away. Their disappearance is a reminder that nothing in the universe stays the same forever. Not even the most beautiful and iconic features of our solar system. Saturn's rings are a temporary gift, one that we must appreciate while they last. As we observe the rings' slow demise, we can't help but wonder, what comes next for Saturn? Will it remain a giant gas planet without its stunning rings? Or will new rings emerge in the distant future? The answer lies in the hands of time, and time is something the universe has plenty of. For now, we are left with the fading beauty of Saturn's rings, a cosmic spectacle that may never be seen again. The rings are disappearing, but their legacy will live on in the stories we tell and the knowledge we gather from their final moments. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more content like this, please subscribe, give us a like, and share this video. And we would love to hear from you. Drop your thoughts in the comment section below, and let's stay connected.